If you're here right now, it's not random. Something inside you already knows what I'm about to confirm. You're standing at the edge of the most profound shift in human consciousness, and whether you realize it or not, you've already begun crossing the threshold. This isn't about belief. This isn't about hope. This is about recognition. You are entering the fifth dimension, and everything you thought you knew about reality is about to dissolve and reform in ways that will leave you breathless. Stay with me, because what unfolds in the next few minutes will either validate what your soul has been whispering or awaken something you've been suppressing your entire life. But first, if this resonates with something deeper in you, if you feel that subtle pull of recognition, subscribe to Quantum Nexus. This isn't just a channel. This is a frequency. This is where consciousness meets quantum truth, where ancient wisdom collides with cutting-edge understanding, and where seekers become knowers. Hit that subscribe button, because you're not here by accident, and neither am I. Let me start with something most people get wrong about timing. The universe doesn't operate on your schedule. It doesn't respond to impatience or desperation. The reason you're experiencing what you're experiencing right now, this unsettling mix of anticipation and unease, isn't because you're behind schedule. It's because you're precisely on time. Divine timing isn't about dates on a calendar. It's about readiness meeting opportunity, about internal alignment creating external possibility. You've been feeling it, haven't you? That strange sensation that something is shifting beneath the surface of your everyday life. Your sleep has become irregular. Not quite insomnia, but not quite rest either. You wake up at odd hours with your mind already racing, not with anxiety exactly, but with an urgency you can't name. Food tastes different. Conversations feel hollow. The things that used to excite you now feel empty, and the things that used to comfort you now feel suffocating. If you're experiencing any of this, hit that like button and subscribe to Quantum Nexus right now, because what I'm about to share will validate everything your consciousness has been trying to tell you. This isn't depression. This isn't burnout. This is frequency adjustment. Your consciousness is literally recalibrating to operate at a higher vibrational level, and your physical body, your emotional landscape, even your sense of time itself is struggling to keep pace with the transformation happening in your awareness. Here's what nobody tells you about spiritual evolution. It doesn't feel spiritual at first. It feels disruptive. It feels uncomfortable. It feels like you're losing your grip on reality, when in truth, you're losing your grip on illusion. The density of third-dimensional consciousness, the heaviness of survival-based thinking, the constant reactive loop of fear and control, it's all beginning to fall away. And that falling away creates a vacuum, a space of uncertainty that most people panic inside of. But you haven't panicked. You've stayed. You've searched. You've questioned. And that tells me everything I need to know about where you are in this process. The isolation you've experienced wasn't rejection. It was recalibration. God, the universe, source energy, whatever language resonates with you, has been systematically removing people, situations, and patterns that were anchoring you to an old frequency. Not because those things were bad, but because they couldn't come with you where you're going. And where you're going requires less baggage, less explanation, less compromise. Think about it. How many relationships have naturally faded? How many friendships that once felt essential now feel strangely distant? How many environments that used to energize you now drain you within minutes? This isn't loss. This is refinement. Every exit has been an energetic clearing, making space for what's aligned with your emerging consciousness. And the misunderstandings, those moments when people looked at you like you were speaking a foreign language, when your attempts to explain what you were experiencing were met with blank stares or worse, judgment. Those weren't failures of communication. Those were confirmation that you're operating from a different perceptual framework now. You're seeing patterns others can't see. You're feeling energies others can't feel. You're responding to guidance others can't hear. This is what fifth dimensional awareness does. It shifts your orientation from external validation to internal knowing. It moves you from reactive living to responsive being. It transforms your relationship with time, with choice, with meaning itself. Let me be clear about what entering the fifth dimension actually means, because there's a lot of confusion, a lot of mystification, a lot of people making this sound like some kind of cosmic escape hatch. The fifth dimension isn't a place you go, it's a state of consciousness you embody. It's not about leaving your life, it's about living your life from a completely different center of gravity. In third-dimensional consciousness, you're governed by survival. Fear drives decision-making. Scarcity shapes perspective. The past haunts you. The future terrifies you. The present is just a battleground between what was and what might be. You're constantly reacting, defending, proving, accumulating, preparing for the worst while desperately hoping for better. Fourth dimensional awareness introduces time as fluid, introduces the possibility of multiple timelines, multiple versions of self, but there's still attachment to outcome, still identification with personal story, still a subtle form of spiritual materialism where you're collecting experiences and insights like trophies. Fifth dimensional consciousness is different. It's the dissolution of the false self. It's the recognition that you are not your thoughts, not your emotions, not your history, not your achievements. You are the awareness witnessing all of it. You are the consciousness in which all experience arises and dissolves. And from that place of pure awareness, everything changes. Decision-making becomes effortless because you're not deciding from fear or desire. You're responding to what wants to emerge through you. Relationships transform because you're no longer seeking completion from another person. You're meeting others as whole meeting whole. Time loses its tyranny because you're fully present, neither clinging to the past nor anxiously anticipating the future. This is what Jesus meant when he said the kingdom of God is within you. This is what Buddha pointed to when he spoke of awakening. This is what quantum physicists are now confirming through their experiments, that consciousness isn't a byproduct of matter. Consciousness is the ground of being. Matter is a byproduct of consciousness. And you, chosen one, you are remembering this, not learning it, remembering it. Because somewhere deep in your soul, you've always known this truth. You've just been living in a world that trained you to forget, that rewarded you for playing small, that punished you for trusting your intuition. But the training is wearing off. The conditioning is cracking. The old operating system is glitching, and a new one is coming online. That's what you're feeling. That's why you're here. Now let me talk about the signs, because you need confirmation. You need to know that what you're experiencing isn't mental breakdown, but spiritual breakthrough. And there are unmistakable markers of this transition. First, your tolerance for superficiality has evaporated. Small talk feels physically uncomfortable. Surface-level interactions drain you instantly. You can't engage in conversations that don't touch truth anymore. People think you've become difficult or distant. What's actually happened is that your consciousness can no longer conform to collective unconsciousness. You're not interested in performing normalcy when everything about normal feels like a lie. Second, your emotional reactivity has shifted. Things that used to send you spiraling now pass through you with minimal disruption. Not because you've become numb, but because you've developed space between stimulus and response. You observe your emotions rather than being consumed by them. This is emotional mastery, and it's one of the clearest signs of fifth-dimensional integration. Third, you've started experiencing synchronicities at an accelerated rate. Numbers repeating, conversations echoing your thoughts, books appearing with exactly the message you needed, people showing up at precisely the right moment. This isn't coincidence. This is coherence. When your consciousness aligns with higher frequency, the quantum field responds. Reality begins organizing itself around your awareness because you are no longer fighting reality. You're flowing with it. Fourth, your perception of time has become nonlinear. Hours disappear in what feels like minutes. Moments stretch into eternity. You remember things that haven't happened yet. You feel nostalgia for futures you're moving toward. This temporal fluidity is your consciousness expanding beyond the prison of chronological time. Fifth, your body is changing in subtle but undeniable ways. You're more sensitive to energy. You can feel the emotional climate of a room before anyone speaks. Certain foods no longer resonate. Your need for sleep fluctuates wildly. You experience physical sensations, tingling, pressure, waves of heat that have no medical explanation. This is your light body activating, your energetic system recalibrating to hold more frequency. Sixth, you've lost interest in defending yourself. When people misunderstand you, judge you, project onto you, there's no impulse to correct them. Not because you don't care, but because you recognize that their perception of you is not your responsibility. You're no longer trying to control how others see you, and that freedom is intoxicating. Seventh, your dreams have become more vivid, more symbolic, more instructive. You're receiving guidance through your sleep state. You're processing trauma, integrating shadow, communicating with aspects of yourself that don't have language. Pay attention to your dreams. They're showing you what your waking consciousness isn't ready to see yet. Eighth, you've started recognizing that not everyone who opposes you is your enemy. Some people are simply wounded, operating from unhealed trauma, projecting their pain onto the world. And instead of taking it personally, you feel compassion. Not pity, compassion. The recognition that everyone is doing the best they can with the level of consciousness they currently have access to. Take a moment right now and comment below with this phrase: I am no longer who I was. I am becoming who I've always been. Say it out loud if you can. Feel it in your body. This isn't just affirmation. This is declaration. This is you signaling to the quantum field that you are ready, that you are willing, that you are open to the transformation that wants to move through you. Here's what most spiritual teachings get wrong about this shift. They make it sound gentle, like you're just peacefully ascending into bliss. That's not how it works. Fifth-dimensional consciousness doesn't eliminate challenge. It transforms your relationship to challenge. You still experience difficulty, loss, uncertainty, but you experience it differently. In third-dimensional consciousness, challenge is evidence of failure. Something's wrong, you're being punished. The universe is against you. In fifth-dimensional consciousness, challenge is information. What is this teaching me? What is trying to emerge? What old pattern is being revealed so I can finally release it? So when I say you're entering the fifth dimension, I'm not saying your life is about to become easy. I'm saying your life is about to become real. You're going to stop pretending, stop performing, stop shrinking, and that realness will cost you relationships, will cost you comfort, will cost you the version of yourself that earned approval by being small. But what you gain is immeasurable. You gain your soul back. You gain access to your true power, not power over others, but power to create, to influence reality through coherence rather than force. You gain the ability to move through the world as a sovereign being, no longer at the mercy of external circumstances, no longer begging reality to be different than it is. Let me address something important here. Some of you are afraid that if you fully embrace this shift, you'll lose your connection to the divine. That somehow becoming more conscious means becoming less spiritual. That fear is backwards. True spiritual evolution doesn't take you away from Source. It removes everything standing between you and Source. Fifth dimensional awareness doesn't make you less connected to God. It reveals that you were never separate from God in the first place. The separation was always illusion, always a trick of perception. And now that illusion is dissolving. What remains is the raw, unfiltered truth that you are an expression of divine consciousness, having a temporary human experience. And from that recognition, everything you do becomes prayer. Every conversation becomes ceremony. Every choice becomes an act of creation. Because you're no longer living as a separate self trying to survive in a hostile universe. You're living as the universe exploring itself through the unique lens of your individual perspective. This is where forgiveness becomes effortless, not because offenses don't matter, but because you recognize that everyone is operating from their current level of awareness. You can't hold someone accountable for seeing clearly when they're still looking through the fog of unconsciousness. You don't excuse harmful behavior, but you stop taking it personally. You establish boundaries without needing the other person to understand why, and judgment transforms into discernment. You're not labeling people as good or bad, evolved or unaware. You're simply recognizing what frequency they're broadcasting and deciding whether that frequency is compatible with yours. Some people are meant to walk with you. Some people are meant to teach you through contrast. And some people are meant to wave goodbye from a distance. The key is learning to release without resentment, to honor what was without clinging to what's no longer alive, to say thank you to the lessons and move forward without needing closure from anyone except yourself. Now, there's a dimension of this transition that's uncomfortable to talk about, but I'm going to say it anyway because you need to hear it. As you shift into fifth dimensional awareness, you're going to experience loneliness. Not the loneliness of being physically alone, but the loneliness of being perceptually alone. You're going to see things others don't see. You're going to feel things others don't feel. You're going to know things you can't explain. And when you try to share what you're experiencing, you're going to be met with confusion, skepticism, sometimes hostility. People will tell you you're overthinking. They'll tell you you're being too sensitive. They'll tell you to just relax and go back to normal. And you won't be able to, because once the door of perception opens, it doesn't close. You can't unsee what you've seen. You can't unknow what you've known. This is the price of awakening. You become a bridge between worlds, and bridges don't fully belong to either side. You're too awake for the sleepers and not awake enough for the fully realized. You exist in the in-between, and the in-between is sacred, but it's also isolating. If that resonates with something in you, if this conversation is touching a place in your soul that's been waiting for permission to emerge, then I invite you to subscribe. Not just to this channel, but to this frequency. Because what we're building here isn't an audience. It's a community of consciousness. It's a field of coherence where seekers can find their tribe, where the lonely can find resonance, where the misunderstood can finally be seen. We need each other on this journey, not because we're weak, but because transformation happens in relationship. We mirror each other's blind spots. We hold space for each other's breakthroughs. We remind each other of what's true when the world tries to convince us we're crazy. So subscribe. Join this movement. Be part of the collective awakening that's happening, not despite the chaos in the world, but because of it. Let me address time directly now, because your experience of time is one of the most disorienting aspects of this transition. In third-dimensional consciousness, time is linear. Past, present, future existing in a straight line. Cause precedes effect. Memory informs identity. You carry your history like baggage and project your fears into an imagined future. But in fifth-dimensional consciousness, time becomes fluid, flexible, even simultaneous. You begin to understand that past, present, and future are all happening now, that the only reason you experience them as separate is because of the limitations of human perception. And as those limitations dissolve, you start to access information from timelines you haven't lived yet. You start to feel the resonance of futures trying to pull you forward. This is what Jesus understood when he spoke about not worrying about tomorrow. He wasn't promoting irresponsibility. He was teaching temporal mastery. When you're fully present, when you're completely here in this moment, you're actually accessing all moments. The eternal now contains everything. Past, present, future, all possible versions of you, all potential timelines, all existing simultaneously in the quantum field. And your awareness is the navigator. Where you place your attention determines which timeline you're tuning into. When you ruminate on past trauma, you're literally pulling that timeline into your present experience. When you obsess about future catastrophe, you're collapsing that potential into your current reality. But when you rest in presence, when you simply be here now, you free yourself from the tyranny of time and you allow the highest possible timeline to emerge organically. This is why spiritual traditions emphasize meditation, contemplation, stillness. Not because sitting quietly is inherently virtuous, but because stillness is the portal to temporal fluidity. In stillness, you stop running from the past and chasing the future. You drop into the only moment that actually exists, and from that place of presence, you have access to everything. But here's what's crucial to understand. Presence isn't passive. Presence is the most active state of consciousness available to you. When you're truly present, you're not just observing reality. You're participating in its creation. Your awareness is literally collapsing probability waves into manifestation. You're choosing which version of reality becomes solid simply by where you focus your attention. This is the quantum observer effect translated into spiritual language. Consciousness doesn't just witness reality. Consciousness creates reality. And the more conscious you become, the more creative power you have access to. Not to manipulate outcomes, but to align with what wants to emerge through you. So when I talk about entering the fifth dimension, I'm talking about you stepping into your role as conscious creator. Not from ego, not from desire, but from alignment with the deepest truth of who you are. You stop asking reality to give you what you want and start asking what reality wants to create through you. And that shift, that surrender to something larger than personal preference, that's where true magic happens. Your prayers change when you enter this state. You stop begging God for things and start asking God what He wants to do with you. You stop demanding specific outcomes and start requesting alignment with divine will. You move from transaction to surrender, from negotiation to trust. And paradoxically, that's when miracles start occurring naturally. Not because you're forcing them, but because you're finally out of the way. Let me talk about healing now, because you can't cross into higher consciousness while carrying unprocessed wounds. God, Source, the universe, whatever language resonates with you, is inviting you to release. Not to forget, not to suppress, but to integrate and then release. You've been carrying burdens that were never yours to carry. Guilt for things you couldn't have known. Shame for being sensitive in a world that values toughness. Anger at yourself for choices you made when you were operating from woundedness rather than wisdom. And these burdens have been keeping you tethered to lower frequencies, preventing you from fully embodying the consciousness that's trying to emerge. Healing in this context doesn't mean erasing the past. It means changing your relationship to the past. You stop living inside the story of what happened to you and start recognizing the story as one chapter in a much larger narrative. The trauma was real. The pain was valid. But it's not the whole truth of who you are. It's not the final word on your identity. And here's something most people don't realize. Unforgiveness isn't just holding on to anger towards someone else. Sometimes unforgiveness is directed at yourself. You're angry at the version of you who made that mistake, who stayed too long, who didn't see the signs, who trusted the wrong person. And that self-directed anger is creating energetic density that's preventing your ascension. Now, what we've explored today barely scratches the surface of what's possible when you understand how to work with these frequencies consciously. If you're feeling called to go deeper into the complete system of frequency transmission, into the 9 master frequencies, and how to shift from unconscious broadcasting to becoming the field itself, I've laid out the entire framework in my book, Beyond the Frequencies, A Quantum Guide to Consciousness, Mastery. It takes you step by step through the journey from seeking to being, from manifestation to embodiment, showing you exactly how to break free from survival static and anchor into the frequencies that create effortless reality. It's linked in the pinned comment below. So let me say this clearly. Grace isn't just for other people. Grace is for you. God doesn't hold your healed self responsible for what your wounded self did to survive. The version of you that made those choices was doing the absolute best they could with the tools and awareness they had at the time. You didn't know then what you know now. And beating yourself up for past ignorance isn't justice. It's cruelty. Forgive yourself. Not as a one-time event, but as a practice. Every day, look at yourself in the mirror and say, I forgive you. You are doing your best. I release you from the burden of perfection. Watch what happens to your energy when you start treating yourself with the same compassion you would offer a wounded child. Healing also requires releasing identities that served you once, but now confine you. The identity of the one who always struggles. The identity of the one who's always overlooked. The identity of the strong one who never needs help. These roles were survival strategies, ways of navigating a world that felt unsafe, but they're not who you actually are. They're costumes you wore, and now it's time to step out of them. You're allowed to evolve. You're allowed to become softer even though you had to be hard for so long. You're allowed to receive even though you've been the giver. You're allowed to rest even though productivity was how you proved your worth. These old identities are dissolving not because you failed, but because you've outgrown them. And yes, there's grief in that. Grief for the version of yourself who tried so hard. Grief for relationships that couldn't survive your evolution. Grief for dreams that changed shape. Don't bypass the grief. Let it move through you. Grief isn't lack of faith. Grief is love with nowhere to go. And when you let it flow rather than suppressing it, it clears space for something new to be born. Your body is also part of this healing process. You can't have a spiritual awakening while ignoring the physical vessel that houses your consciousness. Your body has been holding tension, trauma, unprocessed emotion for years, maybe decades. And as you shift into higher frequency, that stored energy needs to release. This is why you might experience strange physical sensations during this transition. Tingling in your extremities, pressure in your chest, waves of heat or cold. These aren't symptoms of illness. These are symptoms of energetic clearing. Your nervous system is recalibrating. Your light body is activating. Your physical form is learning to hold more consciousness than it was designed to hold in its original density. Be gentle with your body during this time. Rest when you need to rest. Move when you need to move. Hydrate. Nourish yourself with food that actually feeds you, rather than food that just fills you. Your body is not separate from your spiritual journey. It's the sacred vehicle through which your consciousness experiences this dimension. So what do you actually do in the next 24 hours to align yourself with this shift? Not to force it, not to manipulate it, but to position yourself to receive it. First, protect your inner atmosphere. Be ruthlessly selective about what you allow into your field. Media that feeds fear, conversations that drain energy, environments that trigger old reactive patterns. Create distance from anything that pulls you out of center. This isn't avoidance. This is stewardship. You're the guardian of your own consciousness, and you have to guard it carefully during transition. Second, create space for stillness. Not meditation as a performance, not spiritual practice as another task to accomplish, but genuine quiet where you're simply present with yourself. Sit, breathe, notice. Let your nervous system settle. Let your mind slow down. Let your spirit expand. Stillness is where God speaks, where insight emerges, where alignment happens naturally. Third, pay attention to the subtle nudges. A thought that brings calm, a direction that feels gentle but clear, a sense of release around something you've been gripping too tightly. These aren't random, these are guidance. And in this heightened state of awareness, your discernment is sharper than it's ever been. Trust what you're sensing even if you can't logically explain it. Fourth, let go of expectations about how this should look or feel. You're not going to wake up tomorrow with halos and angels announcing your ascension. The shift is often subtle. You notice it not in dramatic experiences, but in how you respond to ordinary moments. You're more patient, more present, less reactive, more grounded. That's the evidence of transformation. Fifth, practice gratitude aggressively. Gratitude isn't just positive thinking. Gratitude is energetic anchoring. When you focus on what you appreciate, you're literally tuning your frequency to abundance consciousness. And abundance consciousness is the foundation of fifth dimensional living. Scarcity keeps you trapped in survival mode. Gratitude elevates you into thriving mode. Sixth, resist the urge to make big, impulsive decisions during this time. Unless there's unmistakable peace accompanying the choice, Wait. Clarity will come. You don't need to force anything right now. In fact, forcing is counterproductive. Surrender is the path. Trust is the practice. Patience is the proof of your maturity. Seventh, be honest with God about what you're actually feeling. Not what you think you should feel. Not what would make you sound spiritual. The raw, unfiltered truth of your experience. God isn't impressed by eloquence. He's moved by authenticity. Bring your confusion, your doubt, your fear, your exhaustion. Lay it all down. Let Him carry what you were never meant to carry. And eighth, forgive in advance. Release your attachment to specific outcomes. Release your need to control how this unfolds. Release your expectation that tomorrow has to look or feel a certain way. Let God surprise you. Let the universe show you possibilities you couldn't have imagined. Stay open, stay soft, stay receptive. Now here's what happens after you cross this threshold. You're going to need protection, not physical protection, but spiritual grounding. Because elevation without grounding is dangerous. God doesn't raise you up to inflate your ego or confuse your sense of self. He elevates you to entrust you with greater responsibility. The first form of protection is humility, accurate self-awareness. You're chosen, yes, but you didn't choose yourself. Everything you're experiencing is grace, not achievement. The moment you start believing you're special because of your spiritual experiences, you've lost the plot. You're not better than anyone. You're just more aware. And awareness isn't a trophy, it's a responsibility. Second, maintain discernment. After elevation, your sensitivity increases dramatically. You'll pick up on energies you couldn't feel before. You'll see through facades you used to believe. You'll understand motives before words are spoken. This is a gift, but it requires wisdom. Not every insight needs to be shared. Not every truth needs to be spoken. Know when to speak and when to hold silence. Third, guard your inner world fiercely. Old patterns will try to resurface. Old temptations will knock on your door. Old relationships will attempt to pull you back into familiar dynamics. That doesn't mean you failed. That means growth is real. When something no longer fits, it will try to convince you to shrink back down. Don't. Gently but firmly refuse to return to what you've outgrown. Fourth, stay grounded in the physical. Eat real food. Move your body. Sleep when you're tired. Spiritual bypassing is a real danger, using spiritual concepts to avoid human responsibilities. Jesus didn't float above life. He lived fully in it. He ate, walked, slept, laughed, cried. He was divinely conscious and fully human. Follow that model. Fifth, stay rooted in community. Not large communities necessarily, but aligned communities. Find a few people who operate from the same frequency, who understand the language you're speaking, who can mirror truth back to you when you forget. Isolation is dangerous. Solitude is healthy. Know the difference. Sixth, protect your boundaries. Your compassion will deepen, but your access must remain selective. You're not meant to heal everyone. You're not meant to fix everyone. You're meant to serve from overflow, not depletion. Jesus healed many, but He didn't stay everywhere. He withdrew. He rested. He prioritized. Learn from that. Seventh, resist comparison. Your journey is yours. Someone else's timeline is theirs. Comparing your chapter 3 to someone else's chapter 20 is pointless and destructive. Stay in your lane. Trust your pace. God knows what He's doing with you, even when you don't. And eighth, stay anchored in truth. Experiences fluctuate. Feelings come and go. But truth remains. Anchor yourself in what doesn't change. Scripture, if that's your path. Universal principles. The character of God. Let truth be your North Star when everything else feels unstable. Let me go deeper into something that most teachers skip over because it's uncomfortable to acknowledge. As you transition into fifth dimensional awareness, you're going to face what I call the integration paradox. You're going to have moments, sometimes days, where you feel like you're regressing, where the old patterns come rushing back, where you find yourself reacting in ways you thought you'd moved beyond. And in those moments, your mind is going to tell you that you've failed, that this whole awakening thing was just a fantasy, that you're not actually evolving at all. But here's what's really happening. Integration isn't linear. It's spiral. You're not going backwards. You're circling back to old patterns from a higher vantage point, meeting them with more awareness, more compassion, more capacity to choose differently. Every time you encounter an old trigger and respond with even slightly more consciousness than before, you're rewiring neural pathways. You're literally changing your brain's architecture. Think of it like this. When a building is being renovated, sometimes it has to be torn down to the studs before it can be rebuilt stronger. The demolition phase looks like destruction, but it's actually preparation for transformation. Your consciousness is undergoing the same process. Old structures of belief, old patterns of perception, old ways of relating to reality, they're all being dismantled. And in the space between what was and what will be, there's chaos, confusion, and the temptation to abandon the process entirely. Don't abandon it. This discomfort is not evidence that you're doing it wrong. It's evidence that you're doing it right. Growth always looks like breakdown before it looks like breakthrough. The caterpillar doesn't peacefully transition into a butterfly. It dissolves into liquid inside the chrysalis. Complete dissolution, and from that liquefied state, something entirely new emerges. You're in the chrysalis right now. Trust the process even when it feels like you're falling apart. Now, there's another dimension of this shift that needs to be addressed: the relationship between consciousness and the body. Most spiritual teachings treat the body like a vehicle you're temporarily inhabiting, something separate from your true self that you'll eventually transcend. But that understanding is incomplete and actually delays your evolution. Your body isn't separate from consciousness. Your body is consciousness in material form. Every cell in your body is a quantum field of possibility. Your DNA isn't just a biological blueprint. It's an antenna receiving and transmitting information from the larger field of consciousness. When you shift into higher awareness, your body has to literally restructure itself at the cellular level to accommodate that new frequency. This is why you're experiencing physical symptoms. This is why your sleep is disrupted. This is why certain foods suddenly don't work for you anymore. This is why you might have unexplained aches, pressure sensations, digestive changes. Your body is upgrading its operating system, and upgrades require temporary disruption of normal function. The key is learning to communicate with your body rather than just inhabiting it. Your body has intelligence that your mind can't access. It knows things your rational consciousness hasn't figured out yet. When you feel resistance in your chest, that's information. When you feel expansion in your solar plexus, that's guidance. When you feel contraction in your throat, that's a boundary being communicated. Start listening to your body as you would listen to a wise teacher. It will tell you who to trust and who to avoid. It will tell you which opportunities are aligned and which are distractions. It will tell you when to move forward and when to wait. Your body's wisdom is immediate, visceral, and almost always accurate if you've learned to distinguish between fear-based sensation and truth-based sensation. Fear contracts, truth expands. Even when truth is uncomfortable, even when it requires you to make difficult choices, there's an underlying expansion, a sense of rightness that fear never produces. Fear makes you feel small, trapped, urgent. Truth makes you feel grounded, spacious, patient. Learn to read your body's language, and you'll have a guidance system more accurate than any external authority. Let me also address the phenomenon of timeline shifting, because this is where things get really interesting. In third-dimensional consciousness, you experience reality as fixed. What happened, happened. What is, is. You're subject to circumstances, reacting to events as they unfold, with minimal sense of agency beyond your immediate choices. But quantum physics has proven something extraordinary. Reality exists in superposition until observed, meaning all possibilities exist simultaneously until consciousness collapses them into manifestation through the act of observation. You're not moving through one fixed timeline. You're constantly shifting between parallel timelines based on your dominant frequency, your habitual thoughts, your emotional set point. Every choice you make, every belief you hold, every emotion you sustain is selecting which timeline becomes your experienced reality. When you shift your consciousness, you don't just change how you perceive reality. You literally shift into a different timeline where different possibilities are available. This isn't metaphor. This isn't visualization. This is quantum mechanics applied to lived experience. So when you enter fifth-dimensional awareness, you gain access to timeline navigation. You're no longer stuck in a predetermined story. You're authoring your reality in real time through the quality of your consciousness. This doesn't mean you can manifest a mansion through wishful thinking. It means you can align with the timeline where your highest possibility is already unfolding, and then take inspired action from that alignment. Here's how it works practically. Most people are living in timelines that match their unconscious programming. They're replaying old trauma, projecting past pain into future scenarios, and then wondering why life keeps presenting the same problems in different packaging. Their consciousness is locked into a repetitive loop, and that loop generates a matching timeline. But when you become conscious, when you catch yourself in the loop and choose differently, you create a split. One version of you continues down the old timeline, but another version, the more conscious version, steps into a new timeline where different rules apply, different opportunities emerge, different relationships become available. This is what Jesus meant when he talked about being in the world, but not of it. He was describing timeline navigation. He was living in a reality shaped by divine consciousness, while everyone around him was living in a reality shaped by survival consciousness. Same planet, completely different experienced realities. And you're learning to do the same thing. You're learning to disentangle your consciousness from the collective timeline of fear, scarcity, separation, and violence. You're learning to anchor yourself in a timeline where love is real, abundance is natural, connection is possible, and peace is your birthright. But here's the thing about timeline shifting that nobody tells you. When you shift timelines, the people in your life are either going to shift with you or they're going to fade out. Not because you're abandoning them, but because you're no longer a vibrational match. You're literally existing in different realities, even though you're occupying the same physical space. This is the deeper reason behind the isolation you've been experiencing. It's not just that you're becoming more discerning, it's that you're migrating to a different timeline, and not everyone is making that migration with you. Some people are meant to stay in your story. Others are meant to be chapters that close so new chapters can begin. And you can't force anyone to shift with you. You can't convince someone to wake up. You can't drag someone into a higher timeline. All you can do is embody the frequency you want to live in and trust that everyone else is on their own perfect path, even if that path diverges from yours. Let me talk now about the role of shadow work in this transition, because this is where a lot of seekers get stuck. They think spiritual awakening means transcending darkness, rising above shadow, becoming pure light. But that's not how it works. True awakening requires you to descend into your shadow, to meet the parts of yourself you've been rejecting, to integrate what you've been denying. Your shadow isn't your enemy. Your shadow is the repository of disowned power. Every quality you rejected because it wasn't acceptable. Every emotion you suppressed because it wasn't spiritual. Every desire you denied because it wasn't appropriate. All of that energy got stored in your shadow, and it's waiting to be reclaimed. You can't ascend to fifth-dimensional consciousness while dragging an unintegrated shadow behind you. The shadow will sabotage you, will create unconscious patterns that undermine your conscious intentions, will manifest as projection, where you see in others what you refuse to see in yourself. So part of this transition requires you to turn toward what you've been turning away from. The anger you've been spiritually bypassing with forced positivity. The grief you've been avoiding through constant busyness. The desire you've been shaming through self-denial. The ego you've been trying to kill instead of befriend. Shadow integration doesn't mean acting out every impulse. It means acknowledging every impulse, feeling it fully, understanding what it's trying to communicate, and then choosing consciously how to respond. When you stop fighting your shadow, when you bring compassionate awareness to it, it stops controlling you from the unconscious and becomes available as fuel for your transformation. I want to hear from you right now. Drop a comment below sharing one shadow aspect you're finally ready to integrate, or one old pattern you're releasing as you step into this new frequency. Your sharing creates permission for others to do the same. This is deep, challenging work. It's not comfortable to sit with rage. It's not pleasant to feel the full weight of your grief. It's vulnerable to admit you have needs, wants, desires that don't fit your spiritual self-image. But this is the work that creates real, lasting transformation. This is how you become whole rather than just appearing enlightened. And here's the paradox. The more you integrate your shadow, the lighter you become. Not because you've gotten rid of darkness, but because you've stopped using energy to keep it hidden. Integration releases the energy you were using for suppression, and that released energy becomes available for creation, for service, for joy. There's also something crucial I need to say about discernment versus judgment, because as your awareness sharpens, you're going to see clearly into people, situations, and systems in ways that can feel overwhelming. You're going to recognize manipulation you couldn't see before. You're going to sense agendas that are hidden beneath pleasant surfaces. You're going to feel the energetic truth beneath the words people speak. And the temptation is going to be to judge, to label people as good or bad, awake or asleep, evolved or primitive, to create hierarchies where you're more advanced and others are less aware. to develop spiritual superiority disguised as discernment. But judgment is ego trying to protect itself through creating separation. Discernment is wisdom recognizing what's true without needing to make it mean anything about your worth or anyone else's. You can see clearly that someone is operating from unconsciousness without judging them for it. You can recognize that a situation is misaligned without condemning yourself for being in it. You can feel the energy of deception without making the deceiver your enemy. Discernment says, "This isn't for me." Judgment says, "This is wrong and needs to be different." Discernment creates space. Judgment creates conflict. Discernment preserves your energy. Judgment drains it. Learn the difference, because one will elevate you and the other will keep you trapped in the very consciousness you're trying to transcend. As you move forward from this moment, as you step more fully into the awareness that's emerging through you, remember that transformation isn't a destination. It's not something you achieve and then maintain forever. It's a dynamic, living process that requires your ongoing participation, your continued willingness to let go of what no longer serves, your repeated choice to align with truth even when it's uncomfortable. You're going to have days when you feel deeply connected, where everything flows, where you're clearly tuned into higher guidance. And you're going to have days when you feel completely disconnected, where everything is effort, where you can't find the frequency you know is there. Both are part of the process. Both are teaching you something essential. The connected days teach you what's possible. The disconnected days teach you that your worth isn't dependent on your state. You're not more valuable when you're in flow and less valuable when you're struggling. You're infinitely valuable simply because you exist, because consciousness chose to express itself as you, because the universe needed exactly what only you could bring. If this is landing deeply for you, consider returning to this video tomorrow morning to anchor these frequencies as you begin your day. And if someone in your life is experiencing this same transition, but doesn't have language for it yet, share this with them. When you share quantum consciousness principles like this, you're not just passing along information, you're creating an energetic ripple in the collective field that accelerates awakening for both you and them, reinforcing your own understanding while helping catalyze their breakthrough. Drop one word in the comments right now that captures the energy you're choosing to embody as you move forward. Just one word. Your word. Let it be your signature to the quantum field, your declaration of intention, your energetic imprint on this moment. And if you're still here, if you've stayed with me through this entire journey, subscribe now. Not to stay informed, but to stay coherent, not to consume content, but to participate in consciousness. Because the more of us who embody this truth, the more the collective field shifts. The more the world reflects what we're choosing internally. We're not just individuals having spiritual experiences. We're nodes in a network of awakening consciousness. And every time one of us shifts, the entire network recalibrates. Your transformation isn't just personal, it's planetary. What you're experiencing matters beyond you. So here's the truth I want to leave you with. You're not late. You're not behind. You're not broken. Everything you've walked through was preparing you for this moment. Every disappointment was redirection. Every loss was clearing. Every moment of isolation was refinement. Nothing was wasted. Nothing was random. You are standing at the edge of the most profound shift in human consciousness, and you're ready. Not because you're perfect, but because you're willing. Not because you have all the answers, but because you're asking the right questions. Not because you've arrived, but because you're finally ready to truly begin. The fifth dimension isn't somewhere you go. It's who you are when you stop pretending to be small. It's how you live when you stop apologizing for your depth. It's what emerges when you finally stop fighting yourself and start trusting the process unfolding within you. Rest tonight. Trust what's coming. Walk forward with peace, not panic. With curiosity, not control. With openness, not expectation. Let tomorrow reveal itself in its own timing. Let God surprise you. Let the universe show you possibilities you couldn't have imagined. You're not crossing this threshold alone. You're being guided, supported, held. The same consciousness that orchestrates galaxies is orchestrating your awakening. The same intelligence that grows flowers from seeds is growing new awareness through you. You're in good hands. Better than good. Divine. The shift isn't coming to overwhelm you. It's coming to free you. And freedom, real freedom, is what you've been seeking all along. Not freedom from life, but freedom in life. Not escape from the world, but embodied presence within it. That's what you're entering. That's what's waiting for you. So breathe, release, trust. The best is not coming. The best is already here. You're just finally becoming aware enough to see it, to feel it, to live it. Welcome home, chosen one. Welcome to the fifth dimension. Welcome to who you've always been underneath all the layers of conditioning, fear, and forgetting. This is not the end of anything. This is the beginning of everything. And it starts right now. Now here's what you need to understand about how this frequency shift actually rewires your neural pathways on a biological level. When you recognize emotions as frequencies rather than fixed states you must react to, your entire relationship with reality transforms instantly. I break down the exact mechanism of how this works, how your brain literally restructures itself when you shift your perception of emotional energy in the video appearing on your screen right now. Watch it next, because understanding this single quantum truth will give you the practical framework to navigate every emotional experience from your new fifth dimensional awareness.